I am Brianna, the last of the Jedi, and the one who will stand with you against all enemies who face us. Now, are you ready?
Hello and welcome back. So today I wanted to cover a couple more sound fonts from the Old Knights pack. So I wanted to start off with Brianna. This sound font is called The Last Handmaiden. Now Brianna is a hybrid character that's an assassin sort of character with martial arts skills that you meet in KOTOR 2, Knights of the Old Republic 2. Her character profile is all very pale and white. Her clothes are white, her hair and eyes and everything are very white, so she's a rather striking character. She's a character I've never seen a sound font for before, and I actually don't see too many people cosplaying as this character, so it's debatable whether or not there's a lot of demand for this sound font as opposed or other than people who are just diehard fans of KOTOR or people who bought the whole bundle. But anyhow, the Brianna font, as you heard, is a Jedi font that's rather abrupt. The blade effects and the clash effects, unlike the sort of two-tone ka-cha sort of effects that a lot of the other fonts have, is just a whack sort of sound with the clashes. So it's an abrupt, quick sort of font. I had it actually running here with a candy cane blade, just because of the time of year it is when I'm filming this. That won't play as well outside of Christmas time, but it's an abrupt sound font. Once again, with all of these Old Knights packets, where these things really shine is not necessarily in the hums. A couple of them, like Nihilus and Scion, had very distinct hums, but the rest of them really shine on the ignition, sometimes on the clashes, on the lockup, and on the power down. So let me play this one more time. Okay, so this is on the quicker side of the ignitions. Instead of having that trigger and flare that a lot of them have, this one just has a click flare. So it's also very quick in the ignition and the power down. Okay, here's lockup. This one has a very similar lockup to the Visas Mar font that I reviewed recently. I've since found that lockup in place in a couple of other places. It's a really cool lockup that has a lot of variety to it. And the clashes and the blaster deflects. And force effect. So in a lot of ways, the Brianna font is a character that you're not going to see too much, demand that's not necessarily there, and the font itself, other than the verbal cues for Brianna, other than it being a little bit of a quicker font, it's very similar to a lot of the other Jedi fonts. So this one's one I don't see a lot of people picking up as a standalone font, because I don't think there's a lot of Brianna the Last Handmaiden fan or diehard fans out there. But it's a nice addition to a pack if you've bought the whole Old Knights pack. So it's nice to see that variety in there. It is different enough from the other ones to make it an addition. All right, let me run this alongside another comparable font. This one is for Mical. It's Mical rather. It's the Disciple is what this one's called. And Mical is the one of the romance characters. You see him sort of hand in hand with Handmaiden. Usually you choose one or the other depending on the gender of the protagonist. But Mical is the sort of stock good guy Jedi counselor who becomes the apprentice of the main character. And basically this is as close to a solid light side font as you get in this entire package. All of the other characters like Atten and Beodor and all of them have very sort of dark sides to them. But Mical is probably the lightest light side character in the entire game. So let me go ahead and fire up his font.
Now, are you ready?
That's Handmaiden.
Sound bank selection.
I am Brianna.
This is Mical. I have found the exile. I fear that there is something else at work. Something that we cannot see.
Spectrum. Blade profiles. Spectrum.
There we go, that's a more fitting color.
Blade profiles.
Okay, here we go, Mical font. So while the Brianna font had a lot of sort of generic qualities to it, the Mical font actually has a little bit more richness. You could hear when I did that lockup that in addition to the variety of the lockup, it had sort of a deeper, sort of almost murmuring tone to it. The swings and everything are still rather abrupt, but the power on, as opposed to the Brianna font, which was a click pop, this one had a little bit more of a build up. All right. So an interesting an interesting build-up, a different lockup. I think the Mical font actually brings more to the table than the Brianna font, but an interesting set as two of the lighter of the light side characters. The Mical actually oddly sounds a little bit darker and a little bit more rustic, which is kind of nice. All right, so that has been a couple more of the sound fonts from the Old Knights package. Hopefully this gave you a chance to sort of take a look at them. I'm going to be covering the very last one in a video all by itself because it's sort of the capstone of it. It's the last one that was released, and it's the one for the Exile, which is the main character of KOTOR 2. So join me back for that one, and we'll finish off this
I am Brianna, the last of the Jedi, and the one who will step now. Are you ready?
Sound bank selection.
I am Brianna.
This is Mical. I have found the exile. I fear that there is something else at work. Something that we cannot see.